Hello again, and welcome back to the Farming Flowers podcast. We have such a fun topic for you. This is actually this evening. Kasey and I have had a rough day outside in the heat, and so we're taking just a moment and sitting down and catching our breath again after a busy day. She was at a market, and I was just working around the farm trying to catch up. But it was hot today, so
it was hot.
For us anyway. I know people think we probably whine out here, but this was kind of unexpected. We've been in like the 50s most days, and then Bama we're 85, and yeah,
it's the bipolar Central Oregon weather. Perfect example
for sure. Well, I invited Kasey on because she has done a U-Pick. She did it for the first time last year, and I know there's so much interest in people doing U-Picks, and she has just done an amazing job with hers. And so I wanted to have her on to sort of answer some questions. And again, I went to my little buddy Chaz GPT, and he came up with some really good questions. So we're going to talk about some different aspects of the U-Pick. And hopefully those of you who are thinking about doing a U-Pick will find some useful information here. And if not, you're just going to enjoy listening to Kasey because she has a wonderful story. And I'm going to have her start kind of talking about the name of her flower farm, which is Firefly Fields Northwest. And she just has an amazing story. And so, Kasey, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll just kind of go with the flow, and I'll throw some more questions at you. So take it away.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to go, this might be a little bit longer of a story because my journey has been long. But in 2019, I was in a pretty bad car accident on the highway, coming home from work from Sisters. And so that left me with a lot of health issues. And I ended up with, back issues and neck issues. My right foot stopped working appropriately. Concussion, and those types of things. So I used to be a really avid reader. I could read literally, I've always been the person who never sleeps. So I could read 3 books a week, literally, not joking. Wow. 3 books a week. I just, I'm a person who could survive off little sleep. That's just the way I'm wired. Half my siblings are the same way, and my dad. So not everybody's like me. I get it. But we don't need a lot of sleep. We go. So, but this car accident kind of rippled me. It stopped me in my tracks. And as time went on, I kept getting sicker and sicker. And I was thinking I was getting sick, and it wasn't related to the car accident. Maybe, something else was going on health-wise. So at first, they were like 100% convinced I had MS. You have MS. This is what it is. We're running the test, but we're 90% confident you have MS. And I'm like, okay, how do I deal with that? Let's do all the testing. So spinal tap, MRIs, you name it. I had every test under the sun. I also at the same time had tests for like Lyme disease, anything else you could possibly think of. And those all came back negative, which was a blessing. Negative, okay. But now what's going on, and then it went on to, okay, we think you have an autoimmune. My younger sister has autoimmune. She has RA and mixed connective tissue disorder. So I'm like, okay, yep, that makes sense. Maybe I have an autoimmune. Sent me to some of the top specialists in autoimmune. Again, ran every test under the sun. I had spinal taps. I had blood tests. I had to go to Washington for tests. I had to go to California for tests. I had to go to Texas for tests, and all these tests came back negative. They're like, we know something's wrong. We don't know what it is, and I'm getting sicker and sicker where, I could barely get out of bed. I can barely function, chronically fatigued, in immense pain. Nobody has answers why my right foot won't work, and it just kind of unraveled. And I clearly thought, like, this has nothing to do with the car accident. I have some weird medical issue that's going on, and we need to figure it out, because I can't get better if they don't know what's wrong with me. They can't treat me. Right. So, how do you treat somebody if you don't know what it is? You don't know what to do. Right. So, it's chronically like falling asleep. Well, this is what I thought was falling asleep. I thought I was like falling asleep everywhere. Later, I knew that I was actually passing out. My blood pressure was crashing. I had no
Wow.
oxygen to my brain, and I was actually passing out over and
Wow.
over and over again. But at the time, I just thought chronic fatigue, so tired, felt like junk. I was just falling asleep, you know? And these episodes would happen all the time. And I'm not a person, like I said, I don't need a lot of sleep. I function really highly. So for me to fall asleep is like
Yeah.
not common. So it's really hard for me to fall asleep on a normal basis. So randomly to fall asleep. But I was getting sicker and sicker as time went on. And they said, we think you have cancer. We're pretty sure you have cancer. We're going to run all the cancer tests. You're going to get a full body scan. We're going to run every blood test we can. We think you have cancer. You know, they had eliminated the other things after another. So it's okay. Run all the tests. I have cancer. That's what it must be. And those all came back negative. So here I was really not knowing, like, you know, first you have MS, you have autoimmune, you have cancer, negative. No answers to any of the things that were going on with me. And I would be so sick I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. Like, I mean, just sick. Like, you know, on the floor crying, in the ER, like, and I'm a really tough person. People need to know the backstory. Like, I got discharged 16 hours after I was C-section because my daughter was life flighted out. And
oh my gosh.
No pain meds, 16 hours after a C-section. I've had multiple surgeries, 0 pain meds. I don't tolerate pain meds. 0 pain meds. People, I think I probably have 30 doctors say I have the highest pain tolerance they've ever seen in their life because I don't tolerate pain meds. So I've had gallbladder out, no pain meds. Sinus surgeries, no pain meds. Now, like after the car accident, I had a disc replaced in my neck. I was back to work within 24 hours, no pain meds. I have a very high pain tolerance. So I know I'm not normal, but I just do have a high pain tolerance. So, you know, if I can't get out of bed, it's bad. Like, it's really bad. If I'm laying on the bathroom floor sobbing, it's horrible. So, and in that, I started having this burning in my legs. My legs would turn neon bright red, and feel like literally someone had dumped gasoline on your body and lit you on fire. And there was like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm on fire, people are going to help me and put it out, the pain's going to get better. No, it just was continually like, you are on fire. I mean, my legs would be like the reddest you've ever seen and burn like acid was poured all over me. And I couldn't figure it out. So I knew something was wrong with me and doctors didn't know. So I kept researching, asking questions, seeing different specialists, you know, and every time told, no, this is what it is. We've eliminated this. We've eliminated that. And then I finally had a patient, I worked in medical, had a patient say, I think you might have this. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. She's like, look it up. So I went home and I'm a very much a documentary person. I love documentaries. So I like, even if I'm working, I'm listening to documentaries in the background. If I'm on the computer, I love knowledge. So I'm always absorbing. And so I watched some conferences on this thing this patient told me. And I just started sobbing because it was literally everything I had. Everything. Literally like to a T. I fit in every box. And I was like, I mean, part of me was sad, like this is what I have. And the other part of me was like, I finally have answers. But I still needed a diagnosis. So this is called CRPS, Complex Regional Pain Syndrome. There is a Netflix documentary on, I think it's called Saving Maya, that talks about CRPS, but it is extremely rare, very rare. Happens after an accident, a trauma, or a surgery.
Wow.
But it is extremely rare, very, very rare. So I like researched like crazy and I found what's the top specialist in the world. And I got on a plane and I flew to the top specialist in the world, which was in New Jersey, across the United States. And they do this kind of diagnosis. It's called, there's not a definitive test that says you have CRPS, you have complex regional pain syndrome. There's not a test that says that. But they have a checklist, and it's called the McGill pain schedule. And I had, you can, if you have 4 of them, you have CRPS. I had 10 out of 10.
Wow.
On that list.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it affects like my nails, it affects my skin, pain. I have what is also called dysautonomia, POTS, which is very common with CRPS. It also explained my foot, why it wasn't working. It's called dystonia, which a huge part of dystonia people have CRPS. They connect. They all connect and intertwine. So it literally was just all of the things going on at once, which were explained by this diagnosis. Like I had all of them. I had all of them. And I walked into the room in New Jersey, and my mother had flown with me. And of course, this is like, 2020, right after COVID. We're flying and we're like 5 people on a plane.
Yeah.
Super sketchy. The airports were like ghost town. It looked like a apocalyptic, like end of the world scene. Like nobody was there. Like it was crazy. But I knew I needed to go. Like I needed answers. I needed confirmation this is what my diagnosis was. And I needed to see the best specialist in the world to know for sure what was going on with me. And I walked in, and I remember sitting down, and he said, "No, listen, you did a full exam. I have my nails, my skin, my sensory issues, like everything." He did a full exam. And he's like, "I've told 4 people today before I saw you that they don't have CRPS. You 100% have CRPS. No question." And he was one of the first people who actually came up with the scale to diagnose CRPS, and he had been treating it longer in the United States than any other provider in the world. So very knowledgeable. So anyway, he's like, "You need all this treatment," and it's ketamine. Ketamine is very controversial.
Oh,
wow. A lot of people don't understand ketamine. It's used for mental health issues.
Right.
But mental health issues are, those are an hour treatment with ketamine. For CRPS, for complex renal pain syndrome, it is a 4 to 6 hour infusion.
Oh gosh.
And you need a course of, 50 in a matter of 3 months.
Wow.
None of it's covered by insurance.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
all out of pocket. In New Jersey, they're about $700-800. In Oregon, they're $1,200 per infusion.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, and to complicate things, like my CRPS foot, that's where it started. It was my right foot that didn't function right, that had dystonia. I had not been able to wear a shoe for 2 years, a real shoe. Could not tolerate a shoe on my foot. And I couldn't walk normal. So I was like, this is what I have to do. I have to do this treatment. This is my only choice of regaining my life.
Yeah.
And being not in such horrific pain all the time.
Right.
Which was affecting me as a mom, as a worker, as a wife, as a friend, as a daughter, as a sister. It was affecting my life on a full scale. I was barely functioning. So I was like, this is what I have to do. I have to do it. I have to come up with the money. I have to figure it out. And I'm really grateful I had a loving husband, and I had parents and in-laws and people who supported me. And we all band together to make it happen. So I lived out of state for 2.5 months for treatment. My dad moved to New Jersey with me for 3 weeks, and we stayed in a hotel. And he had to take me back and forth. I got very sick with the treatment. And then they live in St. George, Utah. The treatment there is $900 versus $1,200 in Oregon. So anyway, I lived with them for probably, 10 weeks. And they traveled me back and forth to the doctor's office, taking care of me after these. Wow. And I have to say, I don't like ketamine at all. It was horrific. I hate it. But it worked. Within 4 weeks, I was able to put a real shoe on my foot. And within 5 weeks, my pain level went down to a 2 from a 10.
Wow.
So anyway, I got better. It helped immensely and changed my life. They gave me back my life. So anyway, this is, sorry, a really long story to get all the details, but eventually I went to arbitration for my car accident. It was not my fault. My car accident was not my fault. And I had some of the best attorneys, I think, in Oregon, and I had another one that specialized in CRPS. But unfortunately, our arbitrator in Bend, I would say he's very anti-woman, and he didn't understand CRPS. And we essentially lost that case.
Wow.
So here I was, $300,000 in medical bills. And this guy was like, you don't have CRPS. I know the top specialists in the entire world said you do.
Wow.
You have a 10 out of 10. But I don't believe you.
Wow.
I don't think it's a real thing. I think it's a make-believe thing. So, nope. Not going to happen. So, anyway, that was a really... And this was like 3 years after the car accident. It took us to get to arbitration. 3 years. And I had every doctor specialist, my primary care, everybody saying like 100% this is what she's gone through. 100% this is from the accident. You know, even OHSU was saying this. And he was like, no, I don't think so. So anyway, that was when I got that news, and I wasn't looking to be rich. I just wanted to pay my medical bills. Like, that's it. I just want to be able to pay for my treatment. So ketamine is an ongoing treatment. You have to keep up with it. It might be once a month. It might be once every 5 weeks. It depends on your body. And if it's in a flare, you might need more treatment. If you're in remission, you might be able to go longer. But of course, you know, it's $1,200 in Oregon to have these infusions to put you in remission. So at that time, like before that court case, I had already been watching Florette, fallen in love, read all her books. And I had already been a gardener. We have grown gardens for, I don't know, probably me and my husband's entire marriage, 20 years. We've been growing gardens, you know. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, I want to grow my own flower garden. And that's all it was. I'm going to just grow my own personal garden. After losing that court case, there was like a fire that lit in me, like, how dare you? Like, and if you watch like Saving Maya on Netflix, you will get it. What she went through, very similar. And I said, like, I thought to myself, and I could have went down a rabbit hole. I could have went in deep depression. I could have went so many different ways. But I said, I'm the kind of person who's like, cups always half full. Okay, this must have happened for a reason. And then I thought about it, like, I was only able to get better and to gain back, you know, what I could of my life before, because I had family that loved me, a husband that loved me, friends that cared about me, and they all rallied together. But how many people out there who do not have that? Like, do not have that. And CRPS is the number one suicide disease in the world. Number one suicide disease in the world. So, I mean, parents who have children can get this too. Are mortgaging their houses, going in bank foreclosure to try to save their kids, to try to get them treatment, to try to, you know, get them out of pain. And I thought, I can do something about this. I can help other people because I was helped. Like, I had love surrounding me to get through this, but there's so many people who do not have that and do not have options and cannot afford treatment. Cannot fly on a plane to New Jersey from Oregon to see one of the top specialists in the world to get treatment. Like, that's just not possible for so many people. And so I thought, how can I turn something horrible in my life into something positive? How can I help them? Because there's so many people struggling. And like I said, it's the number one suicide disease in the world. You know, it has the worst pain. On a McGill scale, it's a 10 out of 10 pain. The worst pain. Worse than labor, worse than amputation, worse than cancer. It is the highest pain level you can experience in your body. And children are going through this. Could you imagine if your child was going through that, what you would not do to try to save them? So I took a passion that I had seen, like, I want to grow flowers. I want to do this for myself. Well, maybe I can do it to help other people. Maybe I can make a difference. Maybe I can help somebody's child, someone's wife, someone's sister, Get them to the right doctors, get them the right treatment. The insurance does not cover any of this, none of it. So how can I help them? Like, maybe this is my purpose in life. Maybe this is a reason why I had to go down this horrible 3 years, 4 years of pain and suffering to get to this place so that I could make a difference and help other people. And I felt like I could do that with flowers. Like, I felt like maybe I could make this work. Like, maybe I could do this. And so instead of growing a backyard flower garden, I grew that in like, I'm going to grow 3/4 of an acre in flowers now. I don't know a lot about flowers. I've grown some flowers here and there, but I don't know a lot. But heck, I'm going to give it a go. And I'm a kind of a person who's like all or nothing. Like, I'm going to put 100% in or not at all.
Yeah.
So if I commit to something, it's going to be
all
or nothing. And so I was like, I'm going to save people. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to spread the word of what CRPS is. I also have pods, which is connected to CRPS. That's my passing out thing. So I do pass out, and I can be out from anywhere from 30 minutes to 8 hours when I have an episode. Unconscious, completely unconscious. I have a chest port. I do IV and fluids 2 to 3 times a week at home. I'm trained to access my own port. I have a spinal cord stimulator that blocks off pain to my legs. And then I still do ketamine treatment when needed. So, but I just felt like maybe I was wired to do this. Maybe this is what I was meant to do. And proven wise, like, flowers are healing. They've been healing for me.
Yeah.
Healing for me hugely. So, long story short, fireflies. CRPS is a fire disease. It feels like fire spreading through your body. And I thought, there's a light in the dark, which is fireflies. There's a light in the dark shining through, and there's always hope. And that together and for a purpose, I can make it, we can all come together and make a difference. That there, even through dark times, there can be light. Just look for the light, and you can get through the worst times of your life and come through the other side. So Firefly Fields, Northwest. We live on Northwest Odom. We live in the Northwest. And fireflies are illuminating. So it's like our slogan is illuminate yourself one bloom at a time. And that's the story of, sorry, it's super long, but that's the story of fireflies. It is what I stand for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that is your story. I mean, you didn't just like, I'm just going to put in a U-pick. I mean, there's an actual story behind this U-pick. And so, and that's what I think a lot of people connect with, because we've all had something in our lives that's been horrific, or it's been somebody who has constant pain, or like you said, it's somebody who maybe doesn't have anyone in their lives. And so having, this beautiful space to connect in, I mean, it is just a magical space with what you've done in such a short amount of time. So, I mean,
yes,
it's shocking how much you did last year. And I will definitely say Kasey is an all or nothing, and she doesn't give 100%. She gives 150% to whatever she does. So, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, did you already have the farm when you were going through all this? You did have the farm.
Okay. We did have the farm. We grew a very small veggie farm. We've always had like goats, and we've raised our own cows, and we've had a ton of rescues. We have rescue horses. We have rescue mini potbelly pigs, chickens, and all those kinds of things on our farm. But on a very small scale, I would grow some sunflowers, grow some few other different things in my raised beds.
Yeah.
But nothing more than that. So I think we've been in our farm, I think we bought it 9 years ago.
Okay.
And it is a 1919 farmhouse on 5 acres with, I think it's like 3.5 acres of irrigation, which we just had been growing for grass. And that's really what it had been grown for the last 40 years, with just orchard grass, nothing else.
Okay.
Beyond that. So But yeah, I mean, that's what we had. And we just grew produce for our family, nothing beyond our family, just what we could grow in the summer.
Yeah.
And nothing more than that. But
so then you got the wild hair to do flowers. And then
I did.
which Florette does that for a lot of people. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'm a huge documentary person, like huge.
Yeah.
I watch every documentary I can put
Me
my hands
too.
on. Love it, love it, love it. And I probably have watched hers, like, embarrassingly. I probably could say word for word of her entire documentary.
I think a lot of people
like
could.
I'll be working and it's like calming. I just hear her voice, Erin's voice in the background, and it's just calming.
Yeah.
And I'm just like working and talking to patients and like, yeah. But I totally fell in love with it.
Okay.
Wanted to do it. But you know, at the first day I was just for myself. Just for myself until I was like.
Yeah. Okay. So you were just going to grow some flowers. And then when did the idea of a U-pick pop into your head? And how did it pop into your head? What was it that clicked for you because I know you already had the intention that you wanted to help people. So how did you make that connection to a U-pick?
I think I don't know if I made like a direct connection, but I was like, I want to grow flowers and I want to share it with people. And I want people to be able to experience the farm. Okay. Because for me, being out in the field, like everybody calls me the barefoot farmer, just so you know, but I do have CRPS in my feet, so I hate shoes. Yeah. So I am the barefoot farmer. But being out there in the field with it was so healing and so calming. I could have the worst day in the world and I could go out there and it all went away. And I said, I was like, I can't keep this for myself. I can't keep it for myself. Other people need to experience this. Yeah. And that's where the U-pick came in. Like, I can't keep this alone. Like, I know what it does to me and my soul and physically to me. Like, how could I not want to share that with other people? Right. So that's how U-pick came in. I was like, I have to share this. I can't keep it to myself. Like, this needs to be shared with anybody who's willing to come.
Here's a picture of you with some of your pretty flowers. Yeah. So then how did you decide? So you decide you're going to do a U-pick. How did you decide what flowers you wanted to grow in this U-pick?
So I would say when I decided this, it was pretty late, like March, right? Too late for cool flowers. I was way late in the game. So I was like, okay, it's going to be summer flowers. Like, this is what I have to grow, summer flowers. So of course, loving Florette, I was like, dahlias, yes, check. Zinnias, yes. Celosias, love them. Love weird textural funky things. Celosias, check the box. So mostly it was like sunflowers, dahlias, zinnias, and celosias. And then, of course, I was like, well, I'll try a bunch of other things. Yeah. On a small scale. See what I like. I don't know. Let's just start growing whatever I can find seeds of and see if I like it or not. Yeah. I mean, of course, I did grow, I can't remember the name of it, but I grew this really cool flower. It looked like almost like an African flower. And after I grew it, I realized like it opens in the sun and then it closes at night. So in bouquets, it's like once you pick it, it's like closed. And I was like, okay, not a good U-pick flower. Beautiful in the sun. And then it just goes whoop, closed. Yeah. Like, so I mean, a lot of it was like live and learn, you know, like I was just like, let's try that. Let's try this. I don't know. Like anything I could get my hands on, I was like, I want to try it. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll hate it. Like I grew free now. Maybe it probably wasn't the best U-pick flower, but I was able to harvest those like early fall. Yeah. And then I used them in so many like cool artistic things. So it was a fun flower, but like maybe not perfect for U-pick. So, you know, I learned a lot of like, don't grow this, grow this. But as a whole, I grew 3,000 dahlias, which is insane your first year. I think I grew 10,000 different sunflowers in all different varieties. Yeah. I had about 1,200 zinnias,
Mm.
and I think 1,800 celosias,
Mm.
and then the mix of other things
All the other
kind of spread
things.
out, like marigolds and, you know, different things like that. We did do a wildflower patch. I have this spot in my field that's very rocky. You can't plow it. It's not workable. And so we were like, I was like, I'm just going to throw a wildflower seed out.
Yeah.
Just going to throw it out. Whatever
It was
happens,
really
happens.
pretty.
Water it.
Yeah.
And it became this really beautiful, magical thing. And people loved it.
Yeah.
They really
beautiful.
loved it. So, and it just kind of did its own thing. I was just like, here's some seed, here's some water. And it was like, good to go.
Yeah.
So like, it was a lot of learn and trial. Like sunflowers didn't work well. Sunflowers worked great. As we know, it was not a good dahlia year last year.
Yeah.
Probably not a great year to do 3,000 dahlias off the gate. But, you know, I mean, those are the flowers I kind of gravitated toward. But we had, because of those flowers, we had a very late season of U-Pick. We didn't open till August, which was for me way late. Yeah. But it was what it was, you know?
Right.
So we opened when we could, when we felt like there was enough for a U-Pick to harvest. Right. So, but you know, you kind of live and learn, like.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know until you try it. So how did you decide?
Like I said, I had missed the boat on cool flowers. So cool flowers.
Yeah, so you had to make the best of summer flowers. You know,
exactly. I totally did.
So, yeah.
So that's predominantly what we grow. But this year,
how did you decide? How'd you decide what days you wanted to be open? And did you have just like weekends, or because you also have a full-time job? We need to say this is a full-time job off the farm. So
I run a medical clinic, and now I run 2 medical clinics. And so that was mostly Monday through Friday. So we originally said, okay, let's open Friday evening, like golden hour.
Right.
And then Saturday and Sunday. Golden hour, you know, we were new, still trying to get our name out there.
Right.
Still trying to get people to know we existed and what we did, and that we offered this. Friday golden hour, it was dead. Like 1 or 2 people. It's not worth your time to be out there, to be open. And so quickly we were like, okay, we're not doing Friday golden hour. We're just doing Saturday, Sunday. But Saturday and Sunday were very busy. Like people came, and it was great. And it was, you know, it was easy. You know, set up a little table with buckets and some snippers and a card machine and a cash box. You're good to go. There wasn't a lot you needed to do. Like we did, you know, make sure if we had harvested flowers, sweep off the rows so everything was clean of debris.
Right.
Because people were going to be walking down them. That was definitely a thing we had to do before we opened, but it was just easy. Like easy to maintain, easy to run, low stress, and great reward. So, you know, we kind of adapted. This year, I'm planning on actually opening all day Friday.
Okay.
All day Saturday and Sunday, and just seeing how it works. I know a lot of people are open self-serve U-Picks. I was not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I you know, I'm not here. I have young children at home.
Right.
Like people coming and going with no direction, or, you know, it didn't work for me. I know a lot of people who do it really successfully, but for me, I want to have somebody there.
Right.
Who's physically telling people what to do, coming in and out, checking them out, and not people just running amok on my property. Like it wasn't for me, but it does work for other people. It just, me personally, it was not a choice I wanted to go down.
Did you offer, like, did they make online reservations to be able to come out, or did you just have set hours that you were open and people could just come anytime during that? And how did you handle like traffic flow and things like that?
Yeah. So we did have, you could pre-buy a U-Pick session, but we also just opened, people could come in without a reservation. And I would say 95% of people just came in without a reservation.
Okay.
The reservation wasn't huge.
Okay.
And with a reservation, you had to write down their name, when they booked it, keep track of that. What if they didn't show up for the reservation? Were you then going to refund or transfer it to a different day? It seemed, I don't know, for me, it felt a little more messy.
Yeah.
To offer it, because so many people, things come up in life, they couldn't make it that day.
Right.
Then what do?
Right.
You got to track it. You got to, you know what I mean? Keep note of it. You got to decide if you're going to refund it, you're going to transfer it to another day and keep that all documented. So, and I feel like, I mean, yes, people do want to like pre-reserve, but like reservations, but at the same time, people are kind of like, who come into nature, kind of just like go with the flow.
Just spur of the moment.
I see a sign on the road. You pick. I'm going to pull over. I think more people who are like in tune to nature just kind of like are sporadic and like go with the flow of like whatever.
Sure.
So I didn't find that the reservation was important.
Yeah.
Or needed. It felt like it complicated it more.
Okay.
Like one day we had a horrible rain and windstorm. It took out like 25% of our sunflowers. And we have 100-plus-year-old trees around our entire house and field. And when a windstorm comes, it's not like a tree comes down. Like the branches are the size of a tree. So it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. And so I think on 2 times we had to close the field because it was not safe. It was not safe for me to take the responsibility of people to come. Our driveway's lined with trees, and then they're walking a field that is lined with trees. So, and then trying to figure out, do you refund them? Do you just offer them a different day? Like you had to contact them. Hey, sorry, we have to close due to weather. So I don't know if I really want to do reservations. Truthfully, I think it's just better, like, if you're open, the weather's good, come on in. Like, but, I do see, like, if we get busier and busier.
Right.
And I think we will. At some point, we might have to limit it due to car space.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to I think I'll just have to put a sign saying, like, max capacity.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow or something, or come back later.
Right.
I think we probably could fit 40, 50 cars.
Okay.
At our house.
That's a lot.
And if we were doing an event, I could fit more if I opened my backfield for parking. But, at some point, we definitely had 25, 30 cars here at once,
Wow.
And that wasn't a problem. But I think, we're gaining more followers. People know us. They're really hyped about the U-Pick. I could see I might need to eventually maybe do a reservation or go back to a different way. But right now it's working this way, or I think it will work this way.
Yeah, you'll find out.
But you're going to have to pivot. If there's too many cars coming in at once, you're going to have to change the way things are. You're just going to have to pivot with what's coming at you, and you can't predict it. 500 cars could show up on one day and the next 20.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're just going to have to figure those things out as you go. So we're trying to make the best decisions we can. But of course, those could change at any point in time.
Sure. So what kind of people showed up? Did you get families coming out? Did you get couples, people with their kids? What was the vibe? What kind of people
All
came?
of the above.
Okay.
Really all of the above. Like couples that had not been on a date night in months.
Yeah.
People with their kids. People who are vacationing here. A lot of older couples, a lot actually, but a ton of younger couples. A lot of girlfriends meeting up, which I have to say, like girlfriends meeting up, there's like fun. 7 cars because they all come on their own.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of parking. But it was great. Like we hadn't seen our friend. Their friend moved away, and this is the first time she's been back to visit us. We want to meet up at the flower farm. Like,
nice.
So a lot of friends. Often they did have their kids in tow. But mothers and daughters, a ton of mothers and daughters.
Okay.
But we also saw like like young 20-year-old boys with their girlfriend, and they were like
Oh.
so into it.
Oh,
You
I
think like
love
boys is
that.
like, I'm dragging on,
Yeah.
I'm here for her. I'm here for her. I hate this. And they were
Yeah.
not. They were like running around like, this is so cool. Oh my gosh, look at this
Oh,
flower. I've never seen anything like it. Like, it
that's
was pretty cool to
great.
see that, like even young
Right.
men like
Yeah.
being excited about flowers. You wouldn't
I
think it,
love it.
but it
No,
was
you
so
wouldn't.
cute. It was so cute. We
That's
even had like
amazing.
several boys that, like, they would call their mom like FaceTime and be like, Mom,
Oh,
look where I am. Can you
wow.
believe this? So it was kind of adorable. Like, you just never know. Like, you think like, oh, this is
Yeah.
predominantly women, but
Yeah.
men loved it
I
too.
loved
Like,
it. That's
they
great.
enjoyed
That's
it too.
amazing.
Like, they just, I don't know. It was kind of interesting. So really, we got all of the above. Children loved it.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it.
Okay.
So, I mean, we had old people love it. We do 6-foot pathways.
Okay.
And we did that specifically for UPIC. Of
Yeah.
course, 6 feet is a
Yeah.
lot of room to give up in a
Yeah.
flower field.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make sure our pathways were accessible to
Okay.
everybody.
That's
And
great.
that included people in walkers or wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
made sure our pathways were very clear, very safe,
That's great.
and wide. So I do work with seniors, so it was very important to me that they could come to,
Mm-hmm.
and that it wasn't limited to just able bodies.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted it to share with everybody. So
Yeah.
we did strategically place very wide, very easy access pathways to all of the
Okay.
rows.
That was going to be one of my questions.
That might not be for everybody, because
Yeah.
if you don't have acres and acres to grow on,
Right.
you need
Right.
to compact that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a choice I made due to the UPIC.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's interested in UPIC, I think you're going to have to make the similar choices of
Yeah,
wide
I think
pathways.
so too.
And
Right.
I kind of even was like, is this the right thing? And people, their reactions, like when I asked them how they felt about the pathways, and that they were like, no, this is great, because I'm slightly claustrophobic, or they could pass, people could pass each other easily
Right.
in the pathways.
Good
Like,
point.
if one person was going this way, then one person was going that way.
Yeah.
So it was the right choice for me to make
Okay.
6-foot pathways. But yeah, you're eating up a lot of space and losing a lot of
True.
grow space with that. So that's
Very
something
true.
people are really going to have to look at with UPIC is, can you
Yeah.
can you
afford that space?
sacrifice
Yeah.
for pathways that are open?
Yeah.
Because you really need it. You got to think like, well, I can get down this 3-foot pathway. Well, okay, if
Mhm.
there's 20 other people coming the other way and
Right.
10 going this way, the same pathway, how is that going to work? So
Yeah.
it, for me, it just made sense, maybe because I work with seniors, knowing that I
Yeah,
needed white
you already
pathways, and
knew.
ended up really working for everybody. But it's not going to be possible for every UPIC situation.
Yeah.
So you will
Yeah.
limit who can come
Yeah.
based off your pathways.
Okay. So did you give people instruction on how to cut certain flowers, or like dahlias? I mean, that's an expensive
Yeah.
crop to have in a U-pick, and you had many
Yeah.
thousands of dahlias, and they were beautiful and they're all blooming. And so did you just turn people loose and let them go pick whatever they wanted, however they wanted? Did you guide them? I know you give them the buckets, which you can see in this picture here,
Yeah.
these darling little white buckets. That's
Yeah.
what they pay for, one bucket or how many ever buckets they
Yeah.
want. They just pay by the bucket, and you give them snips. And then what do? Do you show them around, or how does that work?
So we did have diagrams that we kind of hand drew. Probably not super pretty, but
Yeah.
hand drew. This is how you pick a flower. Follow the stem down. Try not to cut off buds that are below that.
Okay.
So we did have diagrams.
Okay.
We did have diagrams, and we gave them maybe a few minute short explanation of cutting. And you'd be surprised, most people have never cut flowers.
Yeah.
So they really don't know.
I would believe it.
They really don't know. Some people are overconfident and they don't really care. And then there's people who are very cautious and nervous
Right.
about cutting. And we always had one person in the field at all times for questions.
Okay.
There was definitely people I had to handhold. Like, they were so nervous about cutting that they were like pulled back. And I was like, no, it's okay. Let me help you. Let me show you. which is a great educational, like I love
Mm-hmm.
education. So,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, like that meant somebody being in the field available. But we definitely
Right.
gave them, when they first came in, a full explanation, a couple minute,
Okay.
like, this is how you pick. We didn't have flowers off limit
Okay.
last year. This year we will have flowers off limit, that are reserved for florists, that are reserved for, we just don't want you to pick this. This is an
Yeah.
off limits. Like peonies will always
Right.
be off limit to me. Or
Right.
putting lavender in this year, that will always be off limit to me because I'm
Yeah.
growing on a small scale. So, but last year we just kind of let people just go. But people did cut down weird things that you wouldn't expect,
Yeah.
like my berry bushes.
Ah!
Like I had a huckleberry bush I just planted.
Oh my gosh.
And it had, and a blueberry bush. It had literally no berries on it, nothing. And it was off on the side,
Snip,
not in a
snip.
row. It was gone. They were all murdered completely.
Wow.
Like probably $400 of berry bushes.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, why would people cut that for cut flowers? The things you don't think of, like nobody,
Yeah.
oh, they're not going to touch that. It's a blueberry bush. Why would they cut a blueberry bush? Like, and it's like cut to the ground, like
Oh my
murdered.
gosh.
Like that bush is not coming back. So, you know, like it may seem normal to you or like common sense that nobody would cut that. But
Yeah.
when you say no limits, they're going to just go for it and they will cut everything. So I would say like specifically, like be like, no, like, or have signs, no cut, don't touch, mark it off. But I mean, I'm purposely in the big field because we're expanding to the big field. I'm purposely putting everything that's off limits to one side that's going to be totally blocked off. Like, no. But I do know with like wedding orders or, you know, wholesale orders, like I'm going to have to block off certain rows. If I'm counting on those flowers to be able to fill an order, I'm going to have to say no cut. And if that's a dahlia, a sunflower, a snap, or whatever it is, I'm going to have like caution tape and very strict rules.
Yeah.
No. So, and I think you have to make that really obvious, overly obvious, because people,
I think so too.
If you just make it somewhat obvious, they're going to cut it anyway. So, like, for example, we had like, we had zinnias and celojas that we had mesh bagged. Like, this is a special one. We want to save seeds for this one. And people would cut the bags off.
Oh, no way.
Totally cut the bags off.
Oh my gosh.
So, I'm just saying, be blatantly obvious because it may seem like a no-brainer to you.
Yeah.
But it is not. It's not to everyone. I'm not joking. Like probably 80 times that has happened where they cut our mesh bags off. That's amazing.
I can't even imagine. Wow.
So I'm just saying, you do have a risk. You have a risk zone. Like, and even we educated people like, hey, what are the meshes? Like, hey, we're saving seeds for next year. So we can grow these exact plants next year. We can, do this again.
Yeah. Wow. That's
so, put lots of signs up.
Yeah. Signage, I was just going to say. Yeah.
Make it blatantly obvious.
Lots and lots
a 2-year-old could understand. Just saying, you may think like, oh, this isn't an issue. It will be an issue. It will.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I would have never thought.
Live and learn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So, well, then that leads me sort of into my next question what were some of the lessons that you learned from your first year of UPICs? I'm sure there were some really good ones. You've already mentioned a few. You just had to learn the hard way. But what else comes to mind that you really learned? I mean, and you really were trial by fire. You jumped in and had a short 100%. And sweet season. And
I jumped in like fish out of water, deep end.
Yeah.
Like live and learn hard way for sure. I just dived in. I mean, some of the things we already talked about. We did have our metal buckets walk off many times.
Oh,
which are very expensive.
Really? Oh,
very expensive. So I would say always have somebody at a checkout desk. They cannot pass you without a checkout desk, which we had eco-friendly cups and rubber bands and hydration packs. Like when they came out of the field, we would rubber band them. We put hydration fluid in. We give them a hydration pack to go home with. But we had people sneak by us all the time. And those metal containers are very expensive.
Yeah.
And so I would say, like, you have to have guard. You have to have a guard. So this year's going to be interesting because we're going to have 2 fields.
Oh, right.
And
You
how do
are.
we manage
Yeah.
people not sneaking out with your
Right.
clippers, with your
Right.
buckets? Because you will lose money that way. You were going to lose a lot of money to replace that
Yeah.
bucket. That you pick did not pay for that.
Right.
To replace that bucket. So, so it's something I'm still kind of mentally trying to figure out how that layout is going to go. Having not just one field was easier. We had a desk at the front, but if that desk was busy, that's how we had people just walk past and take the bucket to their car and they were gone.
Amazing.
So yeah. So with 2 fields, it's going to be even more challenging. So I'm thinking of just really big signs. Do not leave with the buckets.
Yeah.
Please check in with the front desk before you leave. Like, we're just going to have to be very obvious, very intentful, and very watchful of all of those things because, clippers are expensive too.
Right.
The buckets are very expensive because I like cute things,
Yeah,
I could
they're
probably get cheaper buckets, but I just like cute things. It's part of me. Like, I'm going to have cute buckets. I love it. So,
of course.
But, they're expensive. So if someone walks out with that, that's a loss. It's a big loss.
Yeah, it is.
And so you really have to think through all of those things. I know a lot of people that do paper cups in the field for pick. Here's my problem with that. People set them down. The bucket just falls over. All their water's gone. Their hydration solution is gone. They can't set their bucket down. It's like they constantly have to hold on to this cup. And they can't put it anywhere to enjoy a moment or a photo or anything.
Right.
Or, glass. I don't want glass in my field. Mason jars are beautiful and great. And I do arrangements in mason jars all the time. And we do offer them for sale when people check out with the U-Pick. We offer that they can buy a mason jar from us. But I don't want broken glass in my field. So
definitely
the metal buckets were the way to go. Yes, it's more expensive, but it allowed people to be able to put down their bucket in the middle of a U-Pick, enjoy the moment, take a photo, rest. Like, we encourage people to go into our field and come out. They can be out there as long as they want. We don't care if they're there for 3 hours. They can bring a picnic. They can enjoy themselves. That's what it's about. So people need to be able to put down a bucket. And the metal buckets are heavy. They're not going to tip over easily. They're easy to put down. So it was very thoughtful and intentional to pick the metal buckets over a paper cup or a mason jar for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's something I wouldn't have thought about, but you're right. Because when I went out to cut, it was incredibly handy just to be able to sit my bucket down in whatever row I was working in and then scout ahead. And because I was trying to match certain colors for someone and just to be able to sit the bucket down without carrying it around everywhere, I could sit it down. It sat down just fine. I could go scout where I needed to go next. And I wouldn't have even thought about that if it was just one of the
and then as flower farmers, when we're harvesting, like, we put our buckets down. We don't carry, like, we don't want to have them with us and, like, in a hand. Like, we need to put them down to work and enjoy and do certain things. And they're the same. Like, they want to be able to put their bucket down, like, and we have picnic tables out there, like, and big umbrellas so they can get under the shade on a hot day. Like, people love to put their buckets down. So I think that's very important to think about. Like, yes, like, the cost is more, but I'm not having to buy, like, all these paper cups that, it's just the experience. It's all about the experience with you. And every little detail matters to that experience. So I'm thinking about all of those things because I want to make it the best possible experience for them.
Yeah, I love that. So if we have people that are listening that are just thinking about starting a U-Pick, are there any things you can think of that someone could do, like, on a small scale just to try it out and see if they really want to do a U-Pick? Because as I think about your setup, just the amount of infrastructure you had to put in and
Yeah.
how hard that was to really get going. Do you think it's possible for someone to just do, because I'm even thinking about my small farm in my little tiny
Yeah.
area that I could potentially, it's already got the rows, I could just fence it. And is there a small way to start into a U-pick, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is. It doesn't need to be on a mass scale.
Okay.
You can put a lot of flowers in a small space. Now you
Mm-hmm.
might limit certain people that can come, like I said, with like wheelchairs or walkers.
Right.
But
Right.
absolutely, you can have narrow pathways. It doesn't need to be 3/4 of an acre in flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can pack a lot of flowers and still make it magical and special in a small garden or a
Okay.
backyard garden. Absolutely, you can.
Oh,
I do
yeah.
think like you have to think about your neighbors and parking. Those are the
Right.
two things I think you need to weigh in. And if those are okay, I say go for it. Absolutely go for it. It's magical. And it really
Yeah.
takes the load of work off you because you're not really
Mm-hmm.
having to do a lot. So it's
Yeah.
such an enjoyable experience. And I think a lot of people do it on a very small backyard successfully. I've seen it. So it's absolutely possible. And I think if people are thinking about it, try it. You can
Okay.
absolutely, I know tons of people have small backyards and they just
Yeah.
reserve, like you have this many spots and a small amount of window arrow, like,
Yeah.
2 hours, 3 hours, 20, 30, 40 people, whatever you think you can
Mm-hmm.
handle, even if it's 10 people. If it's only
Right.
10 people, hey, you're making
Yeah.
it more intimate, more quaint, more
Yeah.
more special. So I go for it. Like absolutely go for it because I think when it's so magical to be able to give that to people and it doesn't matter how big the field is. It doesn't matter. People still
Right.
just love being in there and seeing how the
Yeah.
flowers are grown and connecting with you,
Yeah.
like who you are, what's your
Right.
story, why are you growing these flowers,
Right.
like, and they want to know all the things. Like for us as flower farmers, like we know what a zinnia is, we know what a celosia is, we know all about this stuff. They don't. So it's like also
Right.
like they want to absorb that knowledge and they want to just be in it. When you buy flowers in the store, you have no idea what that bush looks like, how it was
Mm-hmm.
grown, how long it took to grow, like any of that information you don't
Right.
know. So
Right.
when you connect people with, even if it's a small backyard, like
Mm-hmm.
how to grow, this is what it is and this is how I do it,
Yeah.
you're like creating relationships in a special environment that like, and you're also educating.
Yeah.
You can't educate people very much with just a store bouquet.
Right.
But on the farm or in the backyard in a flower
Right.
field, or and it doesn't matter the site, it really doesn't. You're really connecting people with those flowers and with you,
Yeah.
and
It's
it's special.
true.
So I would say it doesn't matter the size. It really doesn't.
It's
Yes,
true.
you're not going to be able to allow 80 cars to come in, like
Yeah.
of course not. You're not. But it doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's not less special. I think
Yeah.
it's more intimate that way. It's more like curated.
Right.
And you can
Right.
really spend more one-on-one time
Yeah.
if you limit down how many pre-sold tickets or something
Right.
that
Right.
you have. Like you can actually teach them how to arrange their flowers, with like 10 people.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? There's a lot of things you can do with UPick that don't have to
Mm-hmm.
be on the scale that I'm at.
Yeah.
And because what I'm at doesn't work for everybody. Like, but there's so many different avenues, and I think it's beautiful in so many different ways. So I would say, like, even if you have a small one, if you feel like you want to try it, like,
Yeah.
sell 5 UPick buckets in
Yeah.
one day. Sit down with your people, tell them about your story and why you love flowers and how you grow
Mm-hmm.
them, and then like teach them things like how to harvest them, how to arrange them. Like that can be very special in its own. It doesn't have
Right.
to be a 50-car lineup. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like that's more chaotic and it's less personal. So
True.
it's just the way I always do things on a big scale.
Yes. Yes.
But I also think that like those small things are really, really special. So I would
Really
say like
special.
try it.
Yeah.
Try it. Like just do it on a small scale. Just go sell 5-10 buckets at a time, 2-hour
Yeah.
window you pick when
Yeah.
you're available.
Yeah.
Let them pay for it and enjoy like learning about them. They learn about you. Those
Yeah.
connections
Yeah.
are more important in the flower world than
Right.
people just buying a bouquet.
It's what it's all
somewhere,
about.
kinda.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't think we went too deep into the part of your proceeds, I know we didn't really talk about this, that you donate
Yeah.
a portion of your proceeds. Do you want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that while we wrap up?
Yeah. So we donate right now it's about 30%. We
Wow.
put into a separate account. People can donate to it. And then once we have like enough in there, I think this year for sure, we will have families share their stories, and we will pick only central organ families. We'll have them share their stories of what they're going through, what their health needs are. And then me and my husband both work in medical. So we have a lot of resources. So we will then handpick certain families, and we will fund getting them to the right doctor or getting them the right treatment that maybe not paid for by insurance.
Yeah.
And we hope that will grow, that we can help more and more and more people, because I don't know if I'd be sitting here today if I didn't have family and a husband and parents and loved ones that supported me and helped me make it possible. So like, I'm so very grateful, because like, I definitely wouldn't be having a flower farm today if I didn't have, like, I wouldn't be here. And so like, it's really big and important. And I hope that we are actually planning multiple fundraisers, and we don't just raise funds for that. So like, we're working with Partners in Care right now to do a UPIC event.
Oh, wow.
And all the proceeds will go back to Partners in Care. They have it's a nonprofit, 10 patient only room for hospice patients when their families have to leave town. They can go stay at this, and it's very like curated like a home. And it's 10 rooms only, and they have nurses and doctors on staff. But it's all based off nonprofit. So we're like partnering with them. We're also partnering with several humane societies to do events to raise funds for those. So my extends is, I don't just like, yes, my main focus is helping people with medical needs with insurance, or not be able to get on a plane and fly somewhere to see the right doctor to help you. Like, yes, that's my main focus, but I'm also like navigating like other passions. I'm a huge animal advocate, of course. I work in medical, and I love seniors. That's who I work with. So like, I'm also like fundraising, like, hey, we'll do a UPIC day, and all of those proceeds will go to that, and like, we'll have the Humane Society here with adoptable animals. So any way I can like reach out, like, that's healing for me. That keeps me motivated and keeps me pushing on, and keeps like me like wanting to push forward through the really hard times, is to help in any way I can. So anything I'm passionate about, I'm like, bring it.
Yeah.
Like,
you are
let's
so
help.
amazing, Kasey.
See what we can do. Like,
so inspirational. And I love all of the things that you are into. It's so amazing what you're able to do on so little sleep, because I know you never sleep.
It's so true. Like, everybody's like, how do you do it all? I'm like, I sleep like 2 hours a night. Maybe not for 3 days.
Gosh.
Sometimes. Like, it's true. 100% true. Ask my husband. I don't sleep.
Wow.
But I've always been wired this way. So I wouldn't say it's just not for everybody. Like, I don't recommend it. It's just, this is the way my body functions. It's never needed a lot of sleep.
You're just going with it.
Truly, like, I can just do a lot. Imagine what you can do in 22 hours.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yes, and you do.
Is it very healthy? Probably not it's definitely not for most people, but like, I'm just making the most of the way I was built. So, and I've always been a workaholic. So
it's just amazing. Just amazing. So I am so thankful.
You're amazing.
Well, thank you.
Because when I'm having my meltdowns and freakouts, I message you at all times of the day, hours, and you calm me down and like walk me through it, and you keep me sane. I probably would have gave up a long time ago. There's no way I could have done this without the collective. Absolutely no way. Like, the knowledge I get from each and every one of you, and the support and the family unit you guys have, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I don't know why everybody's not in a collective.
I know.
Maybe not every collective is built the same as yours, but
that could be.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we are really definitely a nice little cohesive community, so cool. and it is so beautiful to see everybody supporting each other, and it's all the good stuff in life.
I just have to say, like, what you're doing, it means just as much, like, if not more, because you're helping all of these other people be able to live their dream and do their thing. And you're the person that everybody calls when they're having a horrible thing going on.
Yeah.
Help me, Lisa. What is happening?
I've probably experienced
I've had
it.
so many freakouts, and like you just you ground me to earth again.
Well, I'm happy to do it anytime because I don't really sleep
So,
either.
you're a
So,
blessing.
you know.
You're amazing.
Thank
You're
you,
a force
sweetheart.
of your own.
Oh,
So I love it.
you.
And I'm so grateful to have met you.
Well,
Really.
I'm so grateful to have you in this whole orbit because you, like I said before, you really are so inspirational, and it's been such a joy to. You've only been in the collective since last year,
I know.
but you just light up everything. So
I'm
thank you for.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, even though I'm a lot. I know.
Oh, no, I'm more than you.
Like, seriously, I don't think I would have survived the second year without you. Like,
well,
hands down, would not have.
Happy to always
I'm
help
here
out.
to support the collective in every way possible. It's the greatest thing, and I couldn't do it at all without you guys. No way.
Love you much. And thank you for spending your Saturday evening with me. This will be up on YouTube on Sunday morning, but Kasey's been Friday farmers market, Saturday farmers market. She's going to be at another one tomorrow. She's going. And so, yeah.
It's a lot.
Well, you know what? I just started drinking tart cherry juice, which supposedly helps you sleep. Yeah. I did it maybe a week or so ago. I drank quite a bit before, well, not quite a bit, but I drank a glass like this before I went to bed. And it was weird. I woke up several times, but I do remember sleeping much deeper than I ever had than in months I had been.
I need to get a wine barrel of.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So here's the tart cherry juice. And women who don't sleep.
And they ship it.
Well, go get some rest, my friend.
Thank you.
And have a lovely evening.
Thanks
Good
for
luck
all
at
your
the
knowledge
market
and wisdom
tomorrow.
and support. We love you.
My pleasure anytime. Okay, go get some rest.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with us. We hope that you're enjoying these stories that we're bringing to you from mostly our farmers, but a few other people as well that we find interesting. If you enjoyed this conversation with Kasey, please hit that little like button down below there. It really does help our channel. And if you want to hear more stories on farming flowers, hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much again for joining us. See you next time.